Hello everyone, and welcome to Film Prize University. In this instructional series, you will learn the basic craft and form of filmmaking to help you and your film team complete your project as you move forward in your journey towards prize history. My name is Colby, and I am the Filmmaker Liaison of Film Prize Junior and the Louisiana Film Prize. I have been a professional filmmaker for the last decade with several award-winning films under my belt. In today's video, I will be covering the basics of pre-production from a professional point of view, as well as details on how to make the most of your budget, or lack of one. I will be covering topics that include breaking down your script, what elements a film needs to succeed, utilizing the value around you, and more. So, let's get started. Breaking down your script. So, you've written your script and it's time to make a movie, right? Not so fast. First, you have to break down your script to determine what elements you will need for everything to come together as a cohesive, watchable film. The easiest way to start is to realize that one page usually equals 1 minute of screen time. Of course, there are exceptions. For instance, if your scene is written, they have an epic space battle. Usually you would write out the details of the battle, but this is generally the accepted rule. So, if you have a 15-page script, expect your film to be at least 15 minutes long as it's currently written. It helps me to grab multiple colored highlighters and mark down individual categories with a different color throughout the script. Then, I can organize what I need by scene, location, and more, and create a checklist that will need to be completed before production begins. Films come in every shape, size, and color you can imagine, but each has certain elements that make it successful. So, when writing and planning your film, remember to keep these elements in mind in order to make the best film you possibly can.
You got me, partner.
Actors. Who will be playing the parts you have? Is it you? Is it your friends? Are they professionals? How many actors do you need? More actors can mean more money, more time, and effort.
Assemble.
Crew. Who will be helping make your film? Don't wear too many hats if you don't have to. Less work means more time for creativity. Locations. Where do you want to shoot your film, and where can you shoot your film? What equipment do you need to make your film, such as cameras and sound?
You're better than that! I'm always gonna love you no matter what.
Production design. This is the look and feel of your film, and covers everything from the dressing of the set to the lighting of the set. Remember, boring sets make boring films. Food. Every successful film has water and snacks for hard-working cast and crew. You cannot expect others to do their best work if they're exhausted and hungry. Make sure to have a scheduled lunch break, as well as snacks for your crew at all times.
What's the real food?
If you can't imagine yourself being Peter Pan, you won't be Peter Pan, so eat up!
Eat what? There's nothing here. Gandhi ate more than this.
And a schedule. No film can work without a good schedule that competently details where, when, and who will be in your film. Films have many moving parts, so it's very important to stay as organized as possible.
How did we get into this mess? I really don't know how. We seem to be made to suffer.
Try to keep these things in mind when writing your script and planning your film shoot. You can never be too prepared, so remember, what is the location of the scene? Do you need to decorate the set? Inside or outside? Day or night? What actors are needed? What props are they using? Are the actors walking or standing in the scene? Is there a stunt? How long is the scene? Remember, one page usually equals 1 minute, and the longer the scene, the longer it will take to film. All of these elements combine to make one scene, and all of your scenes together make a movie. Utilize the value around you. Some of you may have money to make your film, some of you may not. The good news is that whether your budget is $0 or $100,000, you can still make a movie. If you're concerned about having no money to make your film, there are many ways to utilize the value already around you that you may not see.
Seeing ectoplasmic apparitions or heard funny noises in your attic.
Call Ghostbusters. We're fully staffed and ready 24 hours a day to fulfill your supernatural needs.
We're ready to believe you. Go get the refrigerator.
Hello, I need Ghostbusters fast. There's a strange alien in my refrigerator.
For example, if you're looking for actors, but you can't pay them, reach out to your friends and family and ask them to be in your exciting new film. Or search for local theater actors and inform them of the incredible opportunity to add a short film to their resume. If you're looking for locations, go back to your friends and family and ask to use their house or place of business for your scenes. Or reach out to a local business or institution who owns that cool location you've been eyeing and ask politely. You may be surprised at how many yes answers you might receive. And in the city of Shreveport, film location permits are free as well.
It's free. Real estate.
We're giving you land.
It's free.
We're giving you a house.
It's real estate. Free.
It's a free house for you, Jim.
This is free real estate.
Your friends and family may also have other items that will come in handy, such as props, costumes, and more. Just remember to treat any location or item you receive with respect and care as if it were your own, and always practice safety when filming in a public location. If you're looking for the equipment you'll need to shoot your film, such as cameras and sound, you have a few options at your fingertips. On the expensive side, you can always rent cinema cameras and sound equipment. There are plenty of websites online such as Borrow Lenses, Lens Rentals, or searching online for local companies in your area. However, you will need insurance to rent these cameras and equipment, and that can sometimes be purchased from the rental site, but not always. You may also need to rent lenses if you don't select a package deal. Additionally, these cameras and sound equipment may not be easy to use for those unfamiliar and may have a steep learning curve, but it's never too late to jump in and learn. Nearly every major film is made with cinema cameras, with some exceptions usually being documentary films, but not often. On the cheaper side, you can rent DSLR cameras. These are more consumer-friendly options and are far cheaper than cinema cameras and have a different look and often come with lenses and usually have built-in microphones, though I still recommend using separate audio equipment when possible. You may also have access to these cameras within your own household or circle of family and friends. Lastly, if neither of those options are available to you, just use a smartphone. Modern iPhone and Android cameras have come a long way, and many short films and even some feature films have been made using them. There are even accessories you can buy or rent for your phone to enhance your ability to make a movie with them. Another aspect of utilizing the value around you is knowing what you have before you write your script. If you want to set your film in space, but you don't have the ability to build a spaceship or use CGI to bring it to life, consider changing your story. If you're determined to move forward with the idea, consider what ways you can tell your story best and get creative. For example, you may be able to set your location on a different planet and sell it to your audience by changing the color in the edit. I'm familiar with all of this because I've had to deal with it myself. In 2015, I helped write, produce, and edit a short comedy film called Poltergeist about ghost roommates. But we had no money. How did we do it? Here's how. We knew what equipment we had at our disposal. Camera, lights, reflectors, boom mic. We had a group of friends and family that, together, were able to provide necessary equipment and locations at no cost. We also filmed in downtown Shreveport for free. Because we didn't have any money to spend, we wrote it as a comedy to make up for the cheap look of the film. Audiences can forgive cheap-looking films if they're laughing.
Basically, we have some unfinished business that, well, while we don't always know what that unfinished business is,
over here we have a pictograph.
We didn't have the ability to do big scene setups, so we wrote it as a fake documentary or mockumentary, similar to shows such as The Office or What We Do in the Shadows.
It's been like this the whole time, Deacon, on dishes, and it still hasn't moved in 5 years. You're a cool guy, but you're not pulling your weight in the flat.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that I'm cool.
Then we went to Goodwill for cheap set decoration and costumes that added depth and detail to the world we wanted to build. Small touches go a long way. We knew what we had access to, and we made our film around that. Then, we went on to win a bunch of awards at festivals all across the world and even screened recently at the Robinson Film Center in Shreveport to a sold-out audience. We spent less than $100 on the entire film. So, what are you waiting for? And with that, we have come to the end of the basics of pre-production with Film Prize University. Don't be intimidated. There are an infinite number of ways to make your film, but that's okay. The same can be said for any work of art. What you will be doing is finding your way of filmmaking, and there's no one else that can make films the way you do. We only hope that these tips help you bring your film to life and show it to the world. To learn more about the greatest short film competition on the planet, please check out our links and information in the description down below or visit our website to learn more. And Viva la Film Prize!
And that's all I have to say about that.
Hey, this is Gregory Kallenberg from Film Prize Junior. I am thrilled to be here. I got to tell you that this Film Prize Junior has been the best ever on record. We are looking at record votes, record views. If you are interested in celebrating these kids' work, please go to filmprizejr.com, see the films, cast a vote, and help a teacher, a school, and the students earn up to $3,000, a little over $3,000 actually. So it's a $2,500 media grant these kids are going for, $500 for the teachers to make their summers a little sweeter, and then $500 once these kids get back in school to celebrate their achievement. So there are a lot of reasons to go to filmprizejr.com and be a part of something that is becoming historic. And speaking of history, I want to welcome Colby Doler to the mix. But before I do that, let me go over the schedule real quick. I'm being reminded to do that. Just remember, tomorrow we're doing an editing and post-production online workshop again with Colby Doler. So, today's gonna be about pre-production. We're gonna get into a little bit into production. Wednesday, we're doing a master class with the Film Prize Junior judges. That's 12 p.m. And then on Thursday, and by the way, we're in the middle of June if you're seeing this beyond this, but Thursday, June 18th, 6 to 7:30, we're doing a blue slate screening of the festival shorts. Friday, June 19th, we're doing from 6 to 7:30, we're doing a red slate screening of the festival shorts. And on Saturday, we're doing roundtable discussions, which is preparation for 2021 with Tom Johnson, who is another fantastic member of the Film Prize Junior team. Now I can give a hearty hello, welcome, and thank you for being here. Colby Doler, Film Prize Junior, organizer, leader with Stephen Knight. How you doing, Colby?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
Well, it's almost like we don't see each other every day. And like it's almost like you are far away when you're right down the hall, but we are social distance because that is the time that we're living in, and we want to be safe. And also be an example to everybody else that this is the way you should be in these crazy times. Colby, what an amazing video. You really put together something incredible and informative. I want to go deeper now. Let's maybe start with you talking a little bit about yourself, maybe a bit about how you got into filmmaking.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, so it was really... oh man, how did I get into filmmaking? So in about 10 years ago, I left my job at a movie theater and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And so what I did was I got some friends together and said, I want to make a movie. And we had no money. We had no camera. I've never made a movie. I've only watched them and sold tickets to them at the time. And so what we did was me and one of my friends, Corey, we kind of came up with this idea to shoot a zombie film on no money. And that was a terrible idea. And we got a little selfie camera, a Kodak selfie camera. And we spent about 4 weeks on weekends and anytime we had shooting a zombie film that was found footage in our hometown with our friends and family. And it was god awful and you'll never see it. But that's how I got into making movies. And so that's pretty much how I started. And I kind of self-taught myself from then on. And then, that of course that led to today.
So, it's interesting because, for those of us who were dumb enough to spend money to go to places like film school, you're almost taught that your first film is like your first pancake, most often goes into the trash can. but what's interesting about you is that you continue to do it. One, I'm curious about what you remember about that first experience, and about those bumps that you ran into, and how you got over those obstacles and made it to where you at least had a film.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing that I did was I went to movies is what I did. So like I knew what I had at my disposal. I knew I had a camera, and I knew I had like locations that I could use from friends and family, but I really didn't understand the complexities of filmmaking at the time. So the first thing I did was I went to movies. I watched, I thought about the films that I enjoyed that I watched, and how they were made. And I really just started trying to break that down in my mind and just kind of emulate what I had seen on screen. And so I was able to do that and teach myself, how to get certain shots, or how to tell a story in a certain way. And so that's the first thing I did. Yeah. So I'm completely self-taught. I had no money, and I was able to kind of figure out a way to work around everything by just thinking about the movies that I liked. And then also, writing your story is the first thing that you have to do, and you can't be too ambitious. And I learned that the hard way. So take it from me that, you can't just jump in and make a big zombie movie right off the bat without any money.
Well, I mean, and again, let's linger on that point for 1 second, because Tom Johnson talked about that in his Sparking Creativity video, which, was, almost write what you know, and sort of ground yourself, knowing that we in this discussion are going to talk about that walking into the process of filmmaking. Maybe talk a bit more about that simplicity aspect, especially when it comes to Film Prize Junior. Students often go in that direction that you went into with a zombie movie, but how do you sort of bring yourself back, or how would you suggest kids bring themselves back in order to create that simpler story?
For sure, yeah. So, I mean, really, the first thing you can do before you start writing your script is to do what I didn't do, which is look around you and see what you have around you. See where you live. Think about, the things that are important to you emotionally at the time. One of my favorite films that I've made in the past, was something that I'd seen in the news, and I thought that it was relevant and it was local. And so I really just kind of checking yourself and not getting too ambitious, and thinking about what you have at your disposal as far as as storytelling tools that you have around you. Can you shoot your film, at your house? And then what story can you shoot in your house? Do you have siblings you can shoot with? Would your parents want to be in it? Or do you have animals, that you could get to be in your film? Really making a list of everything you have at your disposal, and then writing your film around that first is a really smart thing to do as a filmmaker, because you might want to go and make the next Avengers, but you can get there by starting off really small and thinking about just making your first film and learning the craft of it through that process.
Right. And definitely well put. And I will note that, sort of the human condition doesn't necessarily have to happen just here on Earth. In fact, in the video, you talk a bit about just, changing the color of a background can actually give you an otherworldly feel. I mean, so there are ways to tell simple stories in other places with just very small changes to things that are around you. Would you agree with that?
For sure, yeah. Just think outside of the box. Be as creative as you possibly can. You don't have to show the entire location. You could cut the lights off, and you could pretend you're in any room in the world or in the universe. And you could just throw some light up on a blank background and be on another planet. It's just being creative and committing to that vision will convince the audience more than you realize. And so I think that's a really important thing to remember, is that you're only limited by your creativity, and your creativity is determined by your passion and your ability to go out there and just try.
I love that. And so now we're going to kind of get to the point where the rubber is going to meet the road. And I want to talk about the process of making a movie. Of course, Tom, again, talked about that creating of the script. You've talked about simplicity of story. What are the pitfalls that could happen at this stage?
So for me, the thing that I'm always worried about most is being organized, because I feel like you can have your story, you can know what you have at your disposal, but if you're not organized, there are so many moving parts to a film that you will forget something. Even the most prepared filmmakers forget something, and that's why you need to stay organized and always check your list of things you need and things that you don't have and things that you do have. I mean, I think that's the biggest pitfall a lot of people fall into, is they get so excited about making their film and getting their actors there that they forget they don't have any food for lunch, or they didn't plan a lunch, or that they didn't charge their batteries, and you have your battery charged for your camera, but if you're shooting for 3 hours, it's probably going to die soon, and you're going to need to take time to charge those batteries. So it's little things like that. So just staying organized and being on top of things, and then remembering that it's okay, things are going to go wrong, and you need to scream internally and not outwardly. So whenever things go bad, being a leader, because being a filmmaker is being a leader, and you have to guide your crew and your cast towards the completion of your film. And so just stay organized and stay focused and scream internally.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that's not just a tip for Film Prize Junior. That's a tip for Film Prize with the adults too. I'm curious what that checklist looks like. And I mean, again, we can always post about resources, but like, is it something that you sort of created yourself, or is it something where there was a resource that you went to? Because again, like you said, there's so many moving parts to it. And these kids, they're going to suffer from the same problems the adults suffer from. How would you tell them to construct that checklist, or where would you tell them to go to get that checklist?
Well, for me personally, the way a lot of my film ideas come from locations that I see in my life and decide I could make a film around that. And that's sort of a big spark for a lot of the stories I come up with. So I think that your checklist, for me, always starts with locations. It starts with what locations I have, and then I think then of course I write my story, and then I think of the characters and the actors that I have, and because you can have one actor play multiple characters, and so you need to have the locations, your script, your characters. You have to think about what props they're using, what costumes they're using. And then, like, how are you going to decorate the set? You always need to decorate the set. Never just shoot your film where the location is. Things like that. And then equipment. That's a big one. Obviously, you have to shoot your film on something. So making a list of all of these things is really important. And then using that list. That list will constantly change. It will constantly evolve. You will lose things. You will have to find new things. You will forget things. So really just making a list of all the little things in your script, as I detailed in the video, go through with a highlighter, make a list of the props, of the characters, of the locations, of the costumes, and all of that. And I think, just like I said, staying organized, that's what that list is, and then if you want to find that list, we have a great list at filmprizejunior.com that anyone can get. So, you detail beautifully sort of walking into the process. A lot of the Film Prize Junior filmmakers, and also on the Film Prize, the Louisiana Film Prize, you're using volunteers, you're using friends. You even said it in the video, you're using a local actor, but you're not necessarily paying them. Right. And therefore, a lot of times they're not as beholden to you as you would like. I'm curious what you do when you hit that invariable wall, right? That wall that you hit where somebody realizes that making a movie is hard, or they don't want to spend the next 6 weekends with you. How do you sort of keep it all together and display some of that leadership in a way that you're really cajoling people to create a work of art with you? Yeah. So, film is my life. And so for me, every film, there's that moment where you realize this is tough. I forgot, but you're going to have that moment every time you make a movie, because the joy and the excitement of having that finished film and then sharing it with your audience and seeing people laugh or cry or clap at the right moment is worth every single blood, sweat, and tear that you have during the filmmaking process, you know. And then, you know, it's a lot to ask. You know, filmmaking is hard work. It's a lot to ask of people to show up and film for free and be in your film and do this hard work. But for me, you know, I've been told that, you know, why am I asking if people are okay? Because I'm so worried I want to make sure people don't leave my set. Constantly, like, remind yourself to be nice to people, be thankful to people, be appreciative of the hard work that they're doing, even if you are paying them a lot of money. If you're paying them no money, you know, be more appreciative of everything they're doing, and then reminding them that you're very thankful because this movie is going to mean a lot, and it's going to and it's going to make people laugh. It's going to make people cry. That's what I do whenever the things get to, you know, go the worst direction. I take a moment, I calm down, I remind myself that this is just a movie and that I'm going to figure out a way. You know, you can always change your story if you have to. You know, I mean, that's happened before. You know, I shot a horror movie and the power went out for the last 4 days of the shoot, and we had to figure out a way around it. We ended up just using our cell phone lights, and we were able to work it out, and we went on to win a bunch of awards, you know. So there's always a workaround. Just stay calm, be thankful, and then think about how awesome it's going to be to watch your film with the audience. And that's what keeps me going.
So let me kind of zoom the camera out a little bit. And camera here, we're talking about films, but so I'm curious, as a director producer, how do you know when things are going right, and how do you know when things are going wrong? And really and truly, besides, you know, kind of, I mean, again, you're being very innovative when you use cell phone cameras, but there are some universal sort of like potholes that we all sort of run over as filmmakers. How do you know when things are going wrong, and what do you do when things are wrong?
So you can tell when things are going wrong when it seems like everything is going absolutely right. So you're always going to forget something. You're always going to be overlooking something. But no, so like, I mean, you can tell when things are going wrong whenever actors are forgetting their lines, or you don't know where we are in the script, or everyone's asking questions over and over and over. The worst thing you can have on set is too many questions, you know, like making sure that every person who is there on your set knows their job, knows what they're supposed to be doing, knows what you're shooting that day is very, very important, because like I said, there's too many moving parts on a film for people to not know which direction they're going to be going together as a group. So knowing, like, so being able to see the signs of that, and being able to be ready to take on any challenge that comes up on set is very important. I'm very, you know, glad that I'm self-taught, and that I've been able to wear every hat on set, because it's helped me deal with all of the inevitable problems that happen on a movie set. And I'm not saying everybody has to have the same experience, but I feel like learning everything, every job on set is very important. Learning how to run a camera, learning how to get shots, learning how to decorate a set, how to run sound, how to edit. Learning all of these things, I think, is a very important thing people should really do, because you can just be a director and call the shots, but if you don't really know why you're doing what you're doing, you know, you're inevitably going to fail.
And really, it's an excellent point, in the sense that for Film Price Junior, and for all of the initiatives that we have, that really you got to take on and be responsible as a leader, but you also have to be responsible enough to make sure that the water bottles are filled, that the boom pole is being held. I mean, a lot of these kids are having to do a lot of different things in order to be successful as filmmakers. So is the main point that you, from the very beginning, learn all of those positions? I mean, like you said, I mean, you had to kind of do it as a baptism of fire, but a lot of these kids are really looking for guidance in this realm. Do you feel like it's important for a rotation of crew and everyone sort of understanding how to do every position that's on set?
I think at least understanding what other positions are and being open to learning more about it is the first step, because you don't want to get too focused in your own corner and not understand why something is going wrong, or why somebody is working really hard. and getting upset about something. I feel like being honest and upfront with your entire cast and crew is probably the most important lesson. But yeah, no, absolutely. Like learning everything that you can is very important, but you don't have to rush into it. Like you can just go from set to set, but being open to learning that is incredibly important, because the more open you are, the more you're able to grow, and your storytelling abilities as a filmmaker will grow, because you will know more of how you can stretch your mind and stretch your creativity to come up with bigger and better things, but so being open to that, and then of course, like I said, being honest and upfront with people on your casting crew is very, very important, because you want to make sure that everything you're thinking is something that you're able to tell everyone, and that you're not throwing stuff at people at the last minute, because film sets run really fast. They got to be a well-oiled machine, and if you throw a cog in the wheel, that's only going to derail your film, and it's not going to be pretty.
And it's interesting. We talk a lot at the Prize about how this is creative entrepreneurship, and really what people are doing are building almost little businesses. And, from concept to what you're talking about, which is in practice, it's incredibly important that everyone knows how to be that CEO with a little c, little e, little o, but at the same time knows, how to work sound or work lights. Those are incredibly important lessons, and I appreciate you underlining them and putting them bold-faced. I'm curious, moving along with that process, it's always interesting to note when these kids who've never done this before are finished. How do you know when the film is done, when it's completed, when everything is in the can? How can you be sure? What are those things that you have to do to really make sure that at the end, when you take the paintbrush off the canvas, that actually these films have everything that these kids need in order to make a successful Film Prize Junior film?
Absolutely. So, that checklist comes in handy for sure, in order to make sure that you've got everything you need, but making sure that there is a script supervisor that has gone through and said, we've got this shot, we've got this shot, having a shot list of shots that you want in the film, and realizing that, we didn't get this close up of the ring, or we didn't get this insert of the horse or something, like making sure to have that list and checking it twice, checking it 3 times, checking it 4 times, because the worst thing to have is to go into post-production and realize you didn't get a shot, or that you need to go back and get another one, because you might not be able to. So I think that's how you really know when it's done. It's also a loaded question, because some filmmakers will never stop finishing their film. And so, like me sometimes, but no, yeah. So knowing that if you have a good list, and you surround yourself with people who are hard workers and who are going to pay just as much attention, if not more, than you to the script, it's very important. Making sure people have read the script, and that everybody on set knows what you're shooting, and I feel like that's the easiest way to get towards the finish line.
Colby, so I'm going to give you your home run question here in a second. I'm going to go over the schedule again, but I'm going to let you think about it. Okay. Let's pretend that young Colby Doler, who's just experienced Film Prize Junior, is in the audience and is getting ready to put pen to paper to make their 2021 Film Prize Junior film, right? What is the advice you would give yourself? That's the question. Don't answer it yet. That is the question. Okay. I do want to thank everybody who has viewed this today. Again, I want to make it clear that today is Monday, June 15th. If you're watching this past this time, the information has been incredibly pertinent and will be useful forever. As a filmmaker, I can tell you that Colby's done a wonderful job detailing the process and how it works. If you are in 2020 and on June 15th, I want to let you know Film Prize Junior is going all week long this week with fantastic events. Tuesday, which is tomorrow, June 16th at noon, Colby Doler will be back talking about post-production. On Wednesday, we have a masterclass with the Film Prize Junior judges, which they'll talk about what they experience, but they'll also talk about their film making experience, which will be phenomenal. Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. we have a Blue Slate screening of festival shorts on YouTube and on the Film Prize Junior page. Friday, June 19th, the Red Slate screening of festival shorts on YouTube and the Film Prize Junior page. And then Saturday, Tom Johnson will be back for a roundtable discussion preparing you, the teachers, and you, the students, for Film Prize Junior 2021. Also, keep in mind, record-breaking year of votes. We're on the way to breaking records on the viewing side. Please go to filmprizejr.com, see the films, celebrate these kids' work, and help a school win $2,500 for their film media program, $500 for the teacher, and $500 for the students. So I have belabored the point enough. I have procrastinated. I have let you, Colby, come up with the Citizen Kane of final statements as far as you look into that audience. You see Colby Doler. He is right there. You are going to give him wisdom that is going to get him ready for Film Prize Junior 2021. Colby Doler, what are you going to say to him?
I'm going to say, start now. You have no time to waste. The bigger lead that you get, the better. Ask questions. Ask questions for everything. If you don't know anything, even if you think you know something, ask questions. Everyone here at Film Prize Junior is ready to help you. Email us. Let us know what you have in mind. Let us know your questions. Ask questions. Start gathering your cast, your crew. Start writing your story, and then find your sponsor right now. It's a year out, and it's you're running out of time already. So start now, and then, Viva La Film Prize Junior. Do it.
Well, Viva La Film Prize Junior. Indeed, Colby Doler, thank you so much. I can't wait to talk about post-production with you. It's going to be phenomenal. Maybe we could even get Chris Lyon to come and do a cameo or two in there just to kind of, help hammer home some of these important points. But again, Viva La Film Prize Junior. Go to Film Prize Junior, filmprizejr.com, see the films and vote. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See ya. Viva.